Hello, everyone. Thank you for checking out this special episode of Really Dicey. This is Manny, and I am here with.
My name is Owen Roberson, and my business partner Kevin Siembieda is here.
Excellent. I have to say that there are certain books that always follow me everywhere in my mind and my heart because they made such a big impact on my childhood and with my circle of friends and so forth. And I would say this book is a major influence. I must have collected maybe 30 or 40 books when I was younger. This is one of the few that stayed with me. I made sure this stayed with me. Not because it went out of print later on, but just because it was such a fun book. Um,
Yes.
so I was really excited, and I have to say, very surprised that you're coming out with a new Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles RPG from Palladium. Which the reason why I'm surprised by that is because usually like Star Wars, Star Trek, and other properties, Conan, they tend to change hands to different publishers.
Right.
So I figured I knew sooner or later there'll be another TMNT RPG. I didn't expect another TMNT RPG from Palladium. That was a very very pleasant surprise, and that this is going to be coming out with a Kickstarter, double the size. As you can see, I'm very excited about it. So let's start at the beginning. How did you acquire again the rights for this role playing game?
So I think we're very fortunate in that you're not alone in loving that game. And that includes a lot of people at Nickelodeon and Paramount. So when we reached out to them and said, hi, we'd like to reissue this game in a deluxe format, update it a little bit, give it a new edit, give it a new typesetting, give it magnificent color throughout, plus some new, original bonus material, new art by big name artists and remembrances and making of kind of stuff. They said, yeah, we're really interested. So I think we just had that going for us, our reputation. And I think it helped a lot too, because they continue to do work with Kevin Eastman and Peter Laird and, Freddie Williams. When they ask those guys, what's it like to work with Kevin? Is Palladium a good company to work with? They only have wonderful things to say about us. So, that I think that really helped cement the idea that, yeah, let's give Palladium a shot at reissuing this beloved RPG.
Anything to add to that, Sean?
No, it's one of those things that I think that a lot of people have said they see the enthusiasm from us. And so like you, when I was a kid, I'd played some Dungeons and Dragons, and I loved some BattleTech and West End Star Wars, but TMNT and Other Strangeness was the first role-playing game I ever personally owned, and I ran it with my friends and my cousins, and we played the Turtles Go Hollywood Adventures, and we just had a real blast with it. And so for me, and I was a big Ninja Turtles geek when I was a kid, so to come full circle here, my inner child's doing backflips. Yeah. We're having chats with Kevin Eastman, and he's like, I want to paint a new cover, and we're just really excited about everyone's involvement, and we've been really just surprised as well and pleased to see that, for instance, Sophie Campbell, she runs a Palladium RPG game every week. She runs Heroes Unlimited, so she's a huge TMNT and Other Strangeness fan as well, and she's writing the IDW comics right now. Freddie Williams is doing a lot of the covers, so we've been really excited to engage with all of them and have them contribute to this new Redux edition of the classic book by the brainchild of Kevin and written primarily by Eric Wujik.
Yep.
So I have to ask, and I'm willing to sit back for the rest of the interview just to hear you talk about what you're going to add to the book, because the original book is about I would say 112, maybe 114 pages.
Yes.
Yeah.
And the new remix, the new Redux version is going to have 256 pages. So I'm just curious, what are you adding to this book?
So there's actually going to be two full color hardcover books that are remastered. And so the first book has the TMNT and Other Strangeness role-playing game, the Turtles Go Hollywood and Truck and Turtles Adventure Source books, as well as, that's the first book, plus we're going to have remembrances and pinup art by a lot of TMNT luminaries and Palladium Books artists and writers and other people that have been influenced by it. And the second book is going to have get that transdimensional TMNT, the TMNT Guide to the Universe, and TMNT Adventures. So everything that's come before for this is being brought back in full color with a remaster, rules clarifications, updates as well. So with a lot of remembrances and other material. One of our stretch goals, for instance, is to bring in and add stats and expanded background for Fugitoid in the books, and also a miniature for him in our miniature sets.
Yep, that'll be one of our stretch goals.
That's one of our stretch goals for the Kickstarter. So it's a lot of it's really paying homage to the original classic. It's one of the #1 questions we get. So we just wanted to bring it back for the fans and do it in a big way that wasn't possible. The new color and the remastered layout look amazing.
Oh yeah, the colors is astonishing. And then, like I said, there'll be a bunch of bonus material in the back of the book that has pin-up art by big name guys like Ben Bishop and Kevin Eastman and Freddie Williams and Sophie Campbell and a whole slew of other people. There'll be behind the scenes making of, there'll be a bunch of original artwork that has never been seen, concept drawings. Kevin Eastman's pulling stuff out of his archives. I'm pulling stuff out of my archives.
The fans are going to be, I mean, I saw some of it, I was like, wait, you had this whole time, Kevin? You never showed it to me? He knows I'm a big Turtles fan, but it's just so amazing what he was able to pull out. And then Kevin Eastman doing the same thing. It's very exciting for all of us. And then the other thing that's really fun is we're going to have two leather foil cover for both books with new art by Kevin Eastman and Peter Laird. We're calling it the Mutagen Green Edition, because it's going to have a green and a shiny.
It'll look something
like this. Yeah, it was a shiny green. It'll have more detailed art. But for the collectors. So those are some of the big things that we're super excited about.
Let's talk about the art direction for the book a little bit. You mentioned Freddie Williams. Who else is involved in this project exactly?
Oh, there's a whole slew of people.
So the primary the primary art, a lot of people don't know this about the role-playing game. Kevin Siembieda contacted Kevin Eastman and Peter Laird when issue #2 of the TMNT comics originally came out. So that was before the toys, it was before the movies and the cartoons. They were working out of their garage, and they did a lot of the art for these books, or other Mirage Studio artists as Mirage Studios grew. So this is full of a lot of art by them that a lot of people may not be familiar with, because it was done specifically for the role-playing game. And so on top of that, their wonderful timeless art, we have colors by Mike Majestic, as well as Luis Delgado.
And Sophie Williams.
And Sophie Campbell.
Or Sophie Williams, sorry.
But yeah, Luis Delgado did a lot of the colors for the Last Ronin. So we've got really, really beautiful color, and you can see it. So Freddie Williams did the cover homage art for the first book, and Mike Majestic did the color on that. So that's a hint at what's to come within. And a lot of fans will be very excited as well, because there are a lot of short comic strips throughout multiple books that are coming back in color as well, that a lot of fans may have never seen before.
Yeah, absolutely. And then as far as some of the specific artists, we've got Jim Lawson, Ben Bishop, Stephen Cummings, Sophie Campbell, Freddie Williams, David Peterson, some of our guys, Paulo Okamura, John Zalesnik, Ramon Perez. Gosh, I'm blanking, and we have like 24 different artists. Mike Ruth, Jeremy Caldwell, who's also doing some of the colors. It's going to be spectacular. And one of the things that's amazing me is the passion of all these contributing artists and writers, because they're also doing little written tributes of what Turtles have meant to them and what the RPG meant to them. Like for example, Sophie Williams.
Sophie Campbell.
God, why do I keep saying
I don't know
Williams?
why. I don't know
It's
why.
Sophie Campbell, who I adore. She discovered the Turtles through the game.
Like me.
That was her first exposure to it. So Sophie loves, our games and
plays them every week.
Yeah.
Still, yeah. Right? So it's been one of those really exciting things that we didn't realize how much reach the game has had over the years. And to rediscover that and everyone's excitement and enthusiasm has been really awesome.
So since when this was first published, there's been different variations of the Turtles, different series have come out. This question about that is really more for the younger people, I guess you could say, people that just been exposed to the Turtles in the last maybe 10 years or so. When it comes to the lore, is there anything special that you've done to try to maybe explain the different variations of Turtles and different media?
We're not really doing anything specifically to call out anything new that's come, but these books are really great to get to know the Turtles as they were first presented in their original legendary story, which all the reboots have echoed that to one degree or another pretty accurately. So I think that it's going to be something for newer Turtles fans that's going to feel very familiar, but at the same time have that edge or depth that maybe they haven't seen in some of the cartoons or even some of the later comics until maybe some of the newer stuff like Last Ronin. So it's a little bit edgier type of turtle from the original comics, right? It was pretty action oriented, and so this role-playing game keeps that feel and depiction.
And as you know, Manny, you can what the beauty of TMNT and other Strangeness is that you get to create any type of mutant animal you want. So you can play lions, tigers, bears, pussycats, hamsters,
mutant dinosaurs. We have rules for that in the second book. So that's one of the other cool things about it, is that there were a lot of characters that were created and created by Kevin Siembieda and Eric Wujcik, and then illustrated by people like Kevin Eastman and Laird. That are unique to the role-playing game that people haven't seen in other media. So, for instance, there's the Terror Bears, there's which are 4 evil bears, mutant bears. There's Doc Farrell, who's a scientist tinkering with mutations and stuff like that, and his henchmen like Igor and Carl, in addition to characters that a lot of people are familiar with, like Shredder and Casey Jones and April and
Triceratons
and the TCRI aliens, or the Utroms, right? So there's a lot of stuff there, for a lot of depth too to dive into, that connects right into the original Mirage comics.
Well, I know you mentioned some of this already, so I just want to make sure our viewers are clear. Let's talk a little bit more about the details of the Kickstarter campaign. You mentioned some stretch goals already, covers. Is there anything more about that you want to add to that, what you mentioned before? I know you mentioned about the special covers.
So there's going to be the two books, and they both have a cover by an homage cover by Freddie Williams. With colors by Mike Majestic. We also have 2 alternate covers coming. For the first book, Kevin Eastman was very excited to do a brand new cover. So we'll have an alternate cover by Kevin Eastman, and the second book will have an alternate cover by Sophie Campbell. And then we also have the 2 foil hardcovers, which again featuring art by Eastman and Laird, and new art by Eastman and Laird. And then we have 2 alternate versions coming out. So the internals are all going to be exactly the same, right? Full color, remastered. We are coming out with a black, white, and red edition of both books, featuring color art by Jeremy Colwell. And that when you get into the book, for those who may not be familiar with it, black, white, and red editions have black and white with some red as splash. So we're doing that, and you'll still have the original red bandana turtles, and some splashes of red throughout the illustrations as you go through the book, but it'll harken back more towards the original presentation in black and white, as well as we will have 2 miniature sets, heroes and villains, featuring the Ninja Turtles, and then the villains has the Terror Bears, it has Shredder, a couple of foot soldiers, and other characters. And then we also have, we're working with Fanroll, popular dice gaming dice company and manufacturer. And so we have 5 custom dice sets coming with that. One set of resin dice for each of the turtles with their mask color and weapon on the highest number on each die, and it comes with a bag that you can put them in with art printed on it, as well as dice tray, dice tower, dice rolling mat. That the rolling scroll mat is interesting. You roll it up and it looks like a tube, and if we think it's going to work, it's going to look like a TCRI canister from the Mutagen ooze. So we're pretty excited about all that. We also have, let's see, a poker deck, high quality full color poker deck,
a couple of print sets,
poster, Game Master screen. So yeah, that's the majority of what we've got.
I'm not gonna lie, I'm excited that you mentioned dice, and I was hoping you would mention that because I think that would go really well with this book as well.
We are too, and just so that fans understand, one thing is that the fan roll dice, the miniature sets, the poker deck are going to be Kickstarter exclusives, as will the print sets. Now, after the Kickstarter, we will of course have the 2 core books and the Game Master screen, and we also are looking at, we're talking to manufacturers right now. We're trying to do a liquid filled green dice set for Mutagen green dice that we can have afterwards as well, but that might end up being resin. We're not sure on the details for that dice set yet, but we would love dice too. We're definitely gamers, and so we want all the cool bells and whistles as well.
You sort of mentioned this also as well about the rules.
Yes.
For anyone, maybe they're coming back to it, or maybe they're still playing it to this day. With the new Redux coming out, is there going to be any changes to the rules? Anything different like that?
It's not a reboot. It's we're staying true to the classic roots.
Yeah.
But it is going to have clarifications, some additions for modern gamers. We are changing some of the phrasing. So, for instance, fans of Palladium Books might be familiar with, say, attacks per melee round. So we're rephrasing that to actions per round, right? Little things like that, so that it's just a little clearer to a modern audience that it's not just attacking. You could grab an item or run across a room. Breaking out things like that for movement purposes. But in general, it's the same core rules. It's the classic that everyone loves. But we are updating some of the tweaking and taking the chance to tweak and update some of the details for exact number of bio E you get to build different mutant animals and things like that for just quality of life improvements. It has been 3 decades or so since the game was last in print, and so we want to make sure that we provide a very smooth experience for any modern gamer.
And I sort of know the answer to this question, but I just wanted to let viewers know, in case they're hearing about Palladium or TMNT for the first time. One of the strengths of Palladium, in my opinion, is that all your books are connected.
Yes.
You could take one character from TMNT and put them straight into Rips. Which with those of you hearing this for the first time, Rips is a very futuristic, interconnected. Oh, wow, I don't know how to describe Rips. Rips is
it's a science fantasy gone mad. Yeah.
And so I assume so, but I assume that TMNT will be the same way, where you can make these characters, and if you wish to take them in different roads, different worlds, I should say. It's still very connected to your book.
Yeah, we're not going to be changing any of that. It's going to stay true to form that way. That yes, you could build these characters and use them, or even just use those rules if you wanted to make a custom mutant animal in Rifts or something like that, or take the characters and have them fight villains or other characters from some of our other games like Heroes Unlimited, or one of my favorites when I was a kid was combining ninjas and super spies, the martial arts in there with the different characters from Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. So that's definitely still going to be possible. And it's all using the same core rule set for the entire, we call it the Palladium Books Megaverse.
Excellent. And I'm excited that, I have to say, I have to share that I'm really excited that you're incorporating all these other source books from TMNT into this set. I think even like Turtles in Hollywood, those ones are hard to find nowadays.
Yes.
Much more hard to find in the core rulebook. So that's exciting, and it also it gives players even more variations of who to be. Again, if this is the first time you hear about TMNT Turtles, you don't play just Turtles. You play, oh gosh, almost any type of anthropomorphic creature of sorts.
Yeah.
Would that include also all the adventures from the source books as well?
Yes, all of it.
Wow.
So this is the great thing is that we've been getting people ask us about it all the time. And so we just said, let's bring it all back.
Yeah.
And Kevin said we should do it in color, full color. At first I was like, really? And then I just, when we talked about it, it's I think it's gonna be really exciting for everyone, because again, these books have been out of print for decades, and we get asked about them all the time. And so we're just super excited to have worked out a deal with Paramount and Nickelodeon and Viacom, and boom, we can get that to everybody, and you can pick it all up. And the Kickstarter is going to be the time to get it at the best price possible. Yep. So we're doing our best to hold the line on pricing. So we hope that everybody can check out the Kickstarter and get involved. And one of the other things I'll say about Kickstarter real quick, for those who aren't maybe familiar, is if you get in and you pledge, say you can only afford one of the books immediately. But we have what's called Backer Kit as our pledge manager. So until the books are printed and shipped and delivered, you can increase your pledge. And so one of the things is get your foot in the door, and then hey, maybe later on a couple of paychecks, if you want to add the miniature set or you want to upgrade your pledge to one of the super top levels, then that's totally fine. That's totally kosher until we have to say that, hey, the time period is ended. But that's one of the great things is get your foot in the door, and you can upgrade your pledge later. And a lot of fans have really enjoyed that in our other Kickstarter campaign.
And the Kickstarter is coming out this Halloween, 2023.
Yes, October 31st. Yes, sir. And it ends November 28th.
Oh, excellent. I will put a link in the description below. So I have one more question for both of you. Turtles, in my opinion, is an anomaly in pop culture, where I'm pretty sure if I went to any animation studio and say, hey, I want to make anthropomorphic turtles and give them ninja skills and fight an alien with that lives in a robot in its torso, or I would have been
right.
Out, but it survived. It survived the test of time, and it looks like it will be here for a long time.
Yes.
Why so? Why do you think that is so?
I think part of it was the dynamic art. Part of it is, as you were just describing, it's these impossible, crazy combinations of things that you wouldn't think that work beautifully. And I think a huge part of it is the turtles are a family. They're all brothers, and they're fighting to help the underdog. They're fighting, bad guys and strange creatures, and they're doing it as a family. And I think that really resonates with people.
Yeah, I'd have to agree. And it's just this strong characters, strong world building. The more you get into Turtles, it's cool on the outside, and that kind of lures you in, sort of like Riffs. But when you get in and it has really interesting characters, the four Turtles are a really great dynamic between them, between their different characterizations, and then sort of like what makes Harry Potter? Well, it's the three core characters. What makes Star Trek, right? A lot of times it's how the ensemble fits together. And I think that a family, brothers, now there's a sister and other characters. That's what's kept and propelled the Turtles along and kept them relevant generation to generation. Besides some cool ideas, is all these wonderful stories and characters that really care about each other.
And I'll tell you, I've been looking, obviously I know the Turtles very well. I know Kevin Eastman and Peter Laird personally, but working in this project again, looking at Kevin Eastman and Peter Laird's art, those guys are such great storytellers. I mean, visually, the spoken word. I mean, it's just their storytelling and their artwork and the dynamics of their artwork is just so good. Even when they were so young, I'm looking at a bunch of old stuff again, and it's like just astonishes me. It's just how good those two guys really were.
Well, thank you both for taking the time to talk to us about your latest project, a new version of TMNT. I'm very excited about it, and again, I wish you both success in your Kickstarter. But to our viewers, thank you for watching. Be safe out there. We'll see you next time.
Cheers.